This meeting is called to order in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act. Notice of this meeting was provided to the Home News Tribune, the Star Leisure, the Highland Park Planet on January 8, 2025, and was posted on Borough Hall website at www.hpborough.com and on the bulletin board of Borough Hall, 221 South 5th Avenue in Highland Park, New Jersey, and has remained continuously posted as required by law. Chief, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? By editor to my right and left.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Foster.
Here.
Councilmember George.
Present.
Councilmember Hale.
Here.
Councilmember Hirsch.
Here.
Council President Kim Cho-Han. Councilmember Pistone.
Here.
Councilmember Vargas.
Here.
Borough Attorney Renaud.
Here.
Borough Administrator Rivera.
Here.
Awards and presentation. Tonight we have an award for World Mental Health Awareness Month, which is this month, and I'm going to ask Councilmember Jason to please read that.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I will get right to it. It's a proclamation and recognition of World Mental Health Awareness Day, presented October 21st, 2025. Whereas the governing body of the Borough of Highland Park is deeply committed to protecting and enhancing the well-being of residents of the town, and whereas through conversations with members of vulnerable populations in town, the borough became acutely aware of the impacts of mental health, the impacts on mental health of the COVID epidemic. Statewide studies bear out these impacts, with New Jersey Hospital Association reporting in April 2021 that a greater share of emergency department patients presented with a mental, behavioral, or drug and or substance use disorder diagnosis during the pandemic compared to prior years. The prevalence of these disorders increased most dramatically among children under 18, an already vulnerable population. And whereas the World Federation of Mental Health, in a recently released report, Access to Service, Mental Health in Catastrophes and Emergencies, points out that an estimated 22% of people who are affected by emergency situations will experience depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, bipolar disorder, or other mental health crises. And whereas due to climate change, the state of New Jersey is experiencing an increased incidence of extreme weather events that present emergency conditions, which aggravate mental health conditions, especially among vulnerable populations. And whereas the state of New Jersey offers services that can assist residents in addressing mental health challenges, Middlesex County offers behavioral health navigators who provide free support for all residents across the county who are dealing with mental health and substance use disorders. And the borough offers the services of a skilled social worker who works with a range of residents that struggle with mental health challenges. And whereas the World Federation for Mental Health recently called attention to concerns in this area by declaring October 10th as World Mental Health Day. Now, therefore, I, Jason Selleck, on behalf of Elsie Foster, Mayor of Highland Park, do hereby commend the World Federation for Mental Health for bringing welcome attention to the need for robust services on the state, county, and local levels to support our residents' mental health needs, and do, in retrospect, recognize October 10th as World Mental Health Day.
Thanks, Jason, for pushing on that one. We really need us to acknowledge and recognize that one, because it's time. We're in that season where everybody needs a little bit of mental health and encouragement. With that said, may I have a motion to approve minutes for September 2nd, 2025 regular meeting, September 9th, 2025 work session, and executive session, September 16th, 2025 regular session, and executive session, September 30th, 2025 work session as distributed.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember George.
I'll abstain on the second. I wasn't there on yeses to the rest.
Councilmember Hale.
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch.
Yes.
Councilmember Pistone.
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
And now we're going to move to council report. And I'm going to start off with Councilmember Vargas.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. My name is Mayes Vargas, and I'm the liaison for the Arts and Recreation Commissions. First, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to the wonderful staff of the Highland Park Community Center, Kim, Anne-Marie, Simone, Janet, Nicole, and Megan, as well as all the volunteers involved. Sorry if I'm leaving any names out. They organized today's October luncheon, which was a great event with a packed house of about 100 attendees and a fantastic Elvis impersonator who kept everyone smiling and singing along. It was so much fun. The level of care and attention to detail the team puts into every event that they organize truly shows all the services that they organize for the community. I'm very grateful for their work and for the invitation to be part of it. Moving on to updates from our commissions. Moved way ahead of my report. Okay, the Arts Commission has been very busy. They currently have a scarecrow contest. And they still have some openings if anybody's interested in entering that. For information on how to participate, visit the Highland Park Arts Commission social media pages. We do have on Instagram as well as Facebook. And it's also on their website at hpartscommission.com. Participants will receive a scarecrow kit complete with burlap, twine, markers, and a PVC pipe frame. And they can compete in one of the 3 categories to win a prize. The categories are most creative, Slay the Spooky, and Best in Show. I did not come up with these, but they are very cute. All the scarecrows will be displayed in downtown American Avenue, so look out for that. Also, save the date for December 7th, when the Arts Commission will host its Poetry Festival. It promises to be an inspiring and creative event. I will not be judging it because I will be one of the participants since I've taken up spoken word lately. Since I guess since I've been on the commission. So it's been quite fun. The commission will also host a youth leaf printing workshop in collaboration with Raices Cultural Center this Sunday, October 26th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it's going to be at the community center, I believe, or perhaps it's going to be, sorry, I may have the location incorrect. Please go on their website, on the social media to get the correct location. The workshop is open to youth ages 8 and up, and just get more information to secure a spot. Department of Community Services, as I mentioned before, they have the event today, but tomorrow from 12:30 to 3:30 p.m., they will host the New Jersey Property Tax Relief event. Representatives from the Division of Taxation will assist residents in filing for the Anchor Program and the Stay New Jersey Program for senior homeowners. Please make sure to, if you are interested and you qualify, please go down to the community center to get help and apply for those programs. On Friday, October 24th, there will be an LGBTQ+ engaging community event at the Middlesex College from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. addressing important topics related to aging with the LGBTQ+ community. On November 5th, from 10 a.m. to 11, there will be a Transit for Older Adults workshop designed to increase awareness of accessible public transportation options here in Middlesex County. To register, please contact Nicole at 732-819-0052, extension 3115. Also, the Veterans Day Parade is coming up on Tuesday, November 11th at 11 a.m. And also there will be a Thanksgiving luncheon on November 24th. The holiday luncheon will be on December 16th at Thari, and of course in subsequent council meetings, I will make sure to remind everybody of these dates. Department of Recreation. There are now a lot of their winter fitness classes, yoga and Tai Chi are opening up. If you're interested, please register at highlandparkrec.com. They also have youth winter basketball leagues are opening up starting November 25th for ages 3, for grades 3 to 4 and grades 5 to 8. You have to register by December 9th. There's also a girls basketball league for grades 5 through 8. So please make sure to go on their website to register. They're also looking for volunteer coaches. So please contact the Recreation Department at 722-819-0052. There'll be more Halloween events coming up. The Halloween Costume Parade and Festival will take place on Sunday, October 26th from 1 to 8 here at the Community Center and Zone 6. The Teen Center Zone 6 will host the Halloween movie night, Magic Bus Spooky Halloween Adventure on Wednesday, October 29th from 5 to 8 here on Benner Street. There will be free snacks and treats for the attendees. The Historical Commission, sorry, it's been a while since we had a meeting, so there's a lot of updates. The Historical Commission has been so busy applying for grants. And so stay tuned for their community history project, which they will be launching in the new year, as well as a Ladies in Liberty project. Both will be, I will have more information on that in our future council meetings. And please reserve the date for Sunday, November 23rd, for the Lenape Life Waste Program, which will take place at the community center. This is going to be a family-friendly event, which will feature arts and crafts, exhibits, refreshment, and a demonstration by Carla Messenger, a representative and descendant of the Lenape tribe. Carla will also read from her children's book, When the Shadbush Blooms. So that's very exciting. I'm very happy that the Historical Commission is bringing that to the community. And that concludes my work for tonight.
Thank you. Councilmember Dale?
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Matt Hale, and I chair the Economic Development Committee. I wanted to start off by saying we had a great meeting about our track day redevelopment last week. We had about 100 people show up. And I wanted to especially thank Terry and Tuja and Chris and Deb Cantlip, who's our developer, who came out and gave presentations about the ideas and the plans for track day. It was a great event. We had a lot of good input from people, a lot of good excitement from people about track day. Really excited about this project and to get it moving forward. So thanks to everybody who helped put it on, and thanks to everybody who presented, and most importantly, thanks to everybody who came and gave your ideas. Putting those into the mix as we move ahead with track day. Also wanted to say thanks again for the garage sale. This is a great yearly event. And I heard a story about one of the participants in the garage sale sells their goods in order to raise money for a charity. I'm not sure that we're supposed to do that, but they do it anyway. They made $5,000 on the first day, which is pretty amazing. And they had a huge setup for it, but there was really a lot of great participation all over town, and lots of great deals and bargains. And it wouldn't be the garage sale without bulk pickup on the days afterwards, and that's a great addition. I know how hard it is to do a bulk pickup, so I just wanted to thank all our folks who take care of that. So that was good. I also just wanted to, earlier this month, I was able to remotely join a meeting with the county EDA about all of the exciting things that are going on in Middlesex County for economic development. It really feels like we have a partner in the county to help us with economic development. And they have a huge number of programs for small businesses, things like paying for websites, paying for rent, paying for help to buy buildings. And I know I've said this before, but if you are a small business or thinking of starting a small business, there really are a tremendous amount of state and county resources to reach out to. Our point person on this is Rituja, and so you can certainly reach out to her for details on those. But anybody who is contemplating or owning a small business, I encourage to look into those resources, because they really are quite extensive. And then just on the same reminder, the end of the year, as we approach the end of the year, is often a difficult time for our local businesses. And as you're doing your holiday shopping, as you're doing your end of year shopping, it really is important that we try and help our local businesses through kind of the doldrums of the year. They do better during the year when we have people out walking about and around. But the end of the year is always a little bit tough for our businesses. So anything you can do to go and shop in our local businesses. I'll highlight one of them. We have a new sweet shop in town, Layla's Sweets. I am desperately trying to lose weight, so I have not gone there yet. But as soon as I get to my target weight, I'm going as fast as I can, because it looks amazing. They have these chocolate, Dubai chocolate things. Oh my gosh, they're amazing. So please, if you are not trying to lose weight, go there, because it looks like an amazing place. So, and that's my report.
Thank you. Even if you are trying to lose weight, it's a treat, so it's well worth it. They got me, it's really good. Councilmember Hirsch.
There, or you can be like me, I got an iced coffee and I got one like sweet thing. It is really good now, and they did an amazing job on the inside.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I mean, this is where safe drugs used to be, and it's just, I mean, it really goes to show when someone invests in these properties and they can turn it into a modern retail location.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it really is. So, and like our trees, a lot of our commercial retail spaces are aging. And so on that, my name is Matthew Hirsch. I chair the Public Works and Public Utilities Committee. And I just have a slightly brief report. I'm sorry, I just have it in front of me. There we go. On first reading tonight, you'll see a ordinance 25-2110, the first reading, addressing bamboo. As many of you know, bamboo is a highly invasive and destructive plant species that has been prohibited in residential planting in neighboring towns, Sayreville, Edison, Piscataway, and now Highland Park is moving forward on doing the same. This would not penalize existing properties with bamboo, but it would make sure that the bamboo is contained to the property, and then obviously if it passes, there would be no new bamboo planting. Just a little context that you might find interesting. This is something that as liaison to the Environmental Commission, this is something that we've been working with for a while, and thanks to the Public Works and Public Utilities Committee, Councilman Hale and Councilman George for reviewing this as well. The Environmental Commission has been working on this, and we had a goal of getting this on the agenda this year. But really, what brought this into real light is the work that we did at the Felton Avenue tot lot, which is just a small pocket park over on Felton Avenue. There is a property adjacent with bamboo, and it has it caused a lot of disturbances in the asphalt underneath. So when they went to do the new surfacing, and Terry can speak to this as well. They discovered that there would need to be something in place to prevent the bamboo from pushing through the new flooring of the park. So here's some minor engineering feat. There was a steel beam installed 3 feet underground to prevent the bamboo from actually growing under and encroaching. But that's how invasive it is. It can really find a way, and it can be really destructive. So this is long overdue, and I thank you, Mayor and Council President, for making sure that this is on the agenda. Just a few other things. Sustainable Highland Park will hold its monthly meeting tomorrow at 7:30. Join us online or in person. We are hybrid. We're going to be meeting downstairs in person at the meeting room here at the municipal building. New and familiar faces are welcome, and we really hope to see you there. It really has turned into kind of a catch-all for environmental activism, environmental interest, stewardship, anything, as folks really look for ways to get more involved and get their hands dirty on the local level. If you still have a few things left after the townwide garage sale, Sustainable Highland Park has identified some local spots where you can donate or rehome them sustainably. I had this up here, but if you can find that resource on their Facebook page at Sustainable Highland Park, and please check it out, because if you did miss the boat on the bulk collection, as Councilman Hale said, well, not only do you have one more day, but you may want to find an opportunity to repurpose some of those items instead of going into a landfill. I hate seeing that stuff go into landfills, but sometimes that's the only option, obviously. There was a bulk pickup today, October 21st, and then there's another one on Thursday, October 23rd. So if you have additional items that you need to leave curbside, please put them out, but put them out by tomorrow evening, just so they're not sitting there all day. The borough will collect curbside bulk trash in all Highland Park neighborhoods, and these are the two pickups where you do not need an appointment. Please note that materials may be placed at curbside. This is the preamble. No sooner than 1 hour before sundown of the day prior to scheduled pickup, and they need to be properly secured or bundled. And there is a list of acceptable items on the borough website at www.hpboro.com. Why? Because it can be a tripping hazard. Our sidewalks are narrow. A lot of folks are walking. We really just need to make sure that the stuff does not encroach upon our walkways and roadways. However, I'm sure many of you have seen the post garage sale gatherers out, and I love that. Just getting what's left and hopefully finding some new treasures. And then finally, please remember that there's no recycling collection this week. in lieu for, instead we're doing the bulk pickup. Recycling collection will resume next week, the week of October 27th. Check out the Sustainable Spotlight this week on Sustainable HP on Facebook. It features Highland Park's resident Will Payne and his work with the Little Free Garden. It's really cool, so please check it out. Woodbridge Avenue, you've noticed some road work and road reconfiguration on Woodbridge Avenue. I hope everybody is dealing with that as best as they can. I certainly am, as I leave town every morning and drive on Woodbridge Avenue and have to kind of adjust to the new road configuration. There is no parking on either side of Woodbridge Avenue right now, from Volker Street to Corrals Road, which is just over the Edison border. And this allows the contractor to work on the roadway for them and to stage their equipment in preparation for the construction activities, which are water main replacements. This project will transition into a roadway reconstruction phase over time. This will include new curbs, sidewalks, stormwater drainage, and repaving of the project area. We are grateful to, this is a county road, so we're grateful to the county for its collaboration on this. And we definitely appreciate the patience of residents and businesses, particularly along the corridor. If you have any concerns or any concerns, please reach out and we will be sure to address them. Early voting starts this Saturday, October 26th. And that'll be through Sunday, November 2nd, for the 2025 general election. Hours are Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. No appointment is necessary. If you are registered in Middlesex County, you can vote at any of the locations available that are also, you can find them online at middlesexcountynj.gov. But East Brunswick, Edison, Monroe, New Brunswick, Old Bridge, Perth Amboy, Piscataway, Sayreville, South Brunswick, and Woodbridge. Many of those are very adjacent to Highland Park. And so it's a really great opportunity. I voted early in person last year and it was really cool. I just wanted to thank everybody for it was great to see everybody on the townwide garage sale. It's always a really great community event. We did not make $5,000, but we didn't have a good cause either. So it was just to get rid of junk. But that is the spirit of it. And it's a really, I always feel that it's a great community building event. So thanks to Century 21 and police and everybody else who makes this Herculean task go seamlessly. That's my report.
Thank you. Councilmember George.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I'm Phil George, and I'm the liaison between Borough Council and the public safety agencies in the town. Also want to thank the entire town for a great yard sale. It was a lot of fun. There was just a good atmosphere in the air, and everybody was just having a lot of fun talking with everybody. It was a delightful time. In the police department coming up, we have the Trunk or Treat Halloween event on Wednesday, October 29th at the community center from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's become something of an event. And if you caught the last 2 years, people are really going out of their way to decorate their cars, make them creepy. They have smoke coming out of them and flashing lights and everything. And it's not just a little trick or treat for the kids. The adults are having a really good time. It really is quite a delight. I think it's going to be even bigger with the signups we have so far. So it's free for everyone. Just come down and enjoy and have a good time. The Highland Park Police Department also provided safe, effective, and quiet support for the No Kings event on Saturday. Their vigilance, common sense, and accepting attitude helped to make this a safe and community-forward event. I just want to read the following thanks that we received from someone online today with regard to the police department. We wanted to thank you for your help in allowing us to have a successful No Kings rally on Saturday. We appreciated the department's support in pulling off the rally in a safe and orderly way. The department's cooperative attitude and commitment to providing a safe space for the exercise of our First Amendment rights of freedom of speech and assembly are deeply appreciated. I heard that from a lot of people walking around the town, both on Saturday at the event and on Sunday as well. So we want thank you for taking a moment to thank our police department, police force for their presence and patience, especially with the inflatable sharks, which I found fascinating. Our public safety organizations were honored last night with awards from the Knights of Columbus at St. Paul's Church. Mayor Elsie and I were there to congratulate Police Officer John Larage, who was honored for his role on an emergency call which saved a child who had stopped breathing. Firefighter Ryan Masker handled a blaze on a couch which had turned into a fire engulfing an entire room with just a handheld extinguisher until a hose could be deployed and getting the occupants out to safety as well. EMT chaplain Becky Lauer was honored for her decades of service to the organization, from answering calls and emergencies to handling patients to administrative work to staffing and to training. The library staff is very excited beyond words to kick off the One Book, One Town event, which we've been talking about for months. It starts this Thursday at 7 p.m. We've been talking about it for a while. The entire town will be reading The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store. Here's my hard copy. They ordered 50 copies, which are gone. And a lot of people I spoke to over the weekend have their own copies. It won't just be a one-time event. The kickoff is Thursday at 7 o'clock at the library. There's music, there's food, there's readings, there's introductions, there's other events going on. And almost once a week for the next 2 months, there's an event either at the library or here or other venues. There'll be book readings, there'll be discussion groups, art events, films, writing workshops, collage workshops here in the community center. And you need to tune in on the website. The library staff is so excited about this event, and they really worked hard to put it together. And I think it's going to be an absolute delight. And finally, just a nod to the fire department. They continued their monthly training session. The last one was really something. They were doing emergency vehicle extractions, and there's nothing more fun than the sound of a chainsaw on bare metal while we were watching them and practicing. I did lose quite a few fillings, but it was interesting watching everybody do the work. These are real hands-on training with our professionals and our full-time, as well as our volunteers. And the volunteer squad turnout is really great. The training is phenomenal, and our department is really stepping up to the mark. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Postelnick.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Jason Stelnick. I chair the Health and Human Services Committee. So within that realm, so first up in my report for tonight, I wanted to highlight an item on the agenda, and that's Resolution 10-25-239, which supports the passage of the New Jersey Immigrant Trust Act. So what this resolution does is support legislation at the state level to essentially codify the longstanding policy and practice of the state to let our local law enforcement officers focus on doing their jobs and keeping our communities safe. It's been working well, certainly here, and it deserves to be continued. We don't need our local police officers' focus being shifted away from protecting our families, friends, and neighbors to instead being conscripted into carrying out the federal government's responsibilities. And this is all the more necessary right now when we see the current federal administration's approach to immigration enforcement. So I'm asking my colleagues to support this resolution and hope to see this legislation ultimately pass with any amendments needed to get it over the finish line to ensure it complies fully with the Constitution and to set appropriate boundaries for local law enforcement so they can do what's necessary to keep our communities safe. And then moving on to a completely unrelated matter, it's sort of redundant of my colleague Councilman George's part of his report, but the Human Relations Commission on the liaison to is also in conjunction with the library hosting this upcoming One Book, One Town series of events, which centers around the book, The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store. Again, I got a this also covered, but I got a good one. So like Councilman George said, this Thursday, October 23rd, 7 p.m. is the kickoff event, which will feature light refreshments and introduction to the book, an author, and a read aloud from the novel. I think a couple of us here might be participating in that reading, including myself. So that will be a lot of fun. And then I'm not going to repeat everything that Councilman George said about the series of events, but I just want to highlight a couple of the events that are coming up in the next few days. So up next on the following Tuesday, October 28th, 7 p.m., We'll have an event on Black and Jewish music in the 1930s. Musician Paul Shapiro presents a multimedia lecture about the musical connections between Black and Jewish musicians in the 1930s, including some of the bands featured in the Heaven and Earth grocery store. Then on Tuesday, November 4th at 7 p.m., there will be an all-ages concert, the High Standards Trio, where you'll be invited to experience the swinging sounds of the clubs, bands, and promoters in the Heaven and Earth grocery store book. The High Standards Trio revised the spirit of the 1920s with a lively mix of jazz, ragtime, and blues. All of those events I just mentioned will be located at the library, but as Phil mentioned before, there will be a number of other events as part of the series coming up in the next month that will be located, some in the library, some here, some at the community center. So I encourage everyone to keep an eye out, go to the Highland Park Library's website and check out the dates, times, and locations for all these additional wonderful events. And then just a couple of few notes for before I close, and that's to say that sticking with the Human Relations Commission, they'll be having their monthly meeting tomorrow night at 7 p.m. They'll be in the lower level conference room right here in Borough Hall, but you can also attend remotely. To get the link, go to the Borough website, hbboro.com, to find that link. And then also tomorrow will be the monthly meeting of the Commission for Universal Access. They'll be meeting at 5 p.m. At the Fishbowl Conference Room right on this level, right here at Borough Hall. And you can also attend that meeting remotely with the link also available on the Highland Park Borough website, hbboro.com. And that is my report for tonight.
Thank you. Borough Administrator?
Good evening. I do have a couple items, Mayor. Thank you. Just to jump in, I would like to echo Councilman Hale's comments regarding the meeting we held last week regarding the redevelopment on what we call Tract A. The turnout was great and the conversation was really great. I did want to let you know that the materials from that meeting are on our website. You can find it if you go to hpboro.com, navigate to government, navigate to redevelopment, and then navigate to the redevelopment area, Tract A to D. You can find the video from the presentation as well as the slide deck. So I encourage you, if you weren't able to attend, to take a look. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to make time to hear what you have to say and your ideas. So again, hpboro.com. You can find the link to the video for the meeting. It's also on our YouTube channel if you're familiar with that. Need to take a moment to talk about a topic that we talk about one time a year, the annual best practices checklist, which for those of you who aren't familiar, is something that the state of New Jersey requires municipalities to fill out every year as a way of gauging their practices as well as where training might be required. And it covers a host of areas from how we operate from a financial standpoint, or implementing regulations, such as lead service lines, inspections. So it's an annual tradition. And one of the reasons it's important is it just reminds us of all the things we're supposed to be doing. But it also is, they link the completion of the survey to the getting all of your state aid. And so I'm pleased to report we've completed the inventory. You need to get at least 32 or more points to get 100%, and we have met that goal. We got a score of 40. So I'm pleased to report. And I mean, there's always more to work on, but it's always nice to pass with some grace. So I just wanted to make sure council was aware and the public was aware that we do that every year. And if you have any questions about any of the specific questions on the survey, I'm happy to answer those questions. But they, just to let you know, they do vary those questions from year to year. So it's not, you never know what you're going to get. So anyway, I was pleased, and I do want to thank our CFO, Nerea Champion, who took the lead on completing the bulk of the survey, and then we finished it up together last week, and we'll be submitting it this week in time for the deadline. The other matter I just wanted to point out is another item on the agenda. It's an ordinance we're introducing to adopt the redevelopment plan for 330-334 Raritan Avenue, otherwise known as our former Rite Aid location that includes the building as well as the parking areas in the rear. We discussed it quite at length at our previous work session. The primary, the plan is being adopted using the rehab statute. So it basically authorizes the establishment of a redevelopment plan. This is not a redevelopment area for a variety of reasons, which I won't get into right now. And the focus of the plan is essentially around providing for some additional permitted uses for the building, especially in light of how large the building is. It's a 15,000 square foot space. It's designed very specifically to be a Rite Aid retail building. So retrofitting can be quite expensive, and we're trying to, basically learn from where other places have had some success in recruiting different tenants, try to permit some of those uses. Among the uses that the plan outlines are medical uses such as urgent care, as well as potentially child daycare uses, as well as entertainment, downtown kind of entertainment uses. We tried to be a little more expansive. It also includes some of the other permitted uses we've used in previous redevelopment plans. The other important element of the plan is it links that additional zoning, those permitted uses, to a cross-access easement through the property, through to South Third. So basically connecting South Third to South Fourth through the parking areas in the rear to the municipal lot. So the hope is that we get a win-win. We'll get a not vacant building, as well as that important connection that we've been striving to get since the early 2000s. So anyway, that's on for tonight. And as is a resolution to refer that plan over to the planning board for master plan consistency review. And I just wanted to make sure everybody knew what it was, and if you had any questions, you have the opportunity. And that's my report, Mayor.
Borough Attorney Leon.
Thank you, Mayor. I know everyone's favorite part of the evening is the Borough Attorney's report. So, I want to just expand a little bit more on one of the council reports speaking about the ordinance that's on today, specifically regarding bamboo. And just to kind of explain to everyone and a little basic overview about what the effect will be on the general public. The ordinance seeks to, it effectively creates two buckets. The first bucket is areas where there is bamboo already planted in the ground. The ordinance does not require you to remove existing planted bamboo. For all intent and purposes, you are grandfathered in because it's already in the ground. The areas that do not have bamboo planted in ground will not be able to plant new bamboo. By the way, existing properties will not be able to plant new bamboo either. New bamboo planting in any ground is going to be barred upon passage. The question then comes back to the places where the bamboo is already in existence as to what happens if it begins to encroach. Obviously, and I'm sure everyone is sort of familiar with bamboo, it is incredibly invasive, and chances are if you see a stalk coming through, there is a network underground, which is very, very difficult to control. And unfortunately, if it's not in your yard at first, but it's now going through your foundation, you're the one who now has to deal with it. So what the ordinance says is that you can keep your existing bamboo in your property, but if it encroaches onto someone else's property, you will then be required to remediate that encroachment. That may include the complete removal of all bamboo on your property, depending on how extensive it is. But what effectively will happen is you'll get a notice if you are in violation, or if you're thought to be in violation, you'll get a notice from the borough. It will outline for you what they believe the issue is and what they believe the corrective action would be. And at that point, I would encourage everyone, ordinance or not, to then engage the borough to determine what's the best course to correct the problem for your property. If the problem is not corrected, because we've all acknowledged that it is invasive, the most extreme thing the borough can do is come in, remove the bamboo, and then put a lien on the property for the cost of doing that removal. This is not intended to target individuals. I love the way it looks, and if it could just be up on top, it would be wonderful, but we all know the reality of it. So For those folks who are a little nervous because they see bamboo in their backyard and they're going, oh my gosh, the thought of having to rip it off, I understand. You can take preventative actions to ensure that it doesn't go into your neighbor's property. It's probably good practice to do so. But until you've gotten a formal notice that it has encroached, you'll be allowed to keep it there. If you're looking at your backyard after the passage, you're going, bamboo would look great. I'm sorry, you're just not gonna be able to do it. So I hope that is kind of gives everyone a basic understanding about how the ordinance will work in practice and why it's so important to do. The other aspect is, and it's just my daily spiel, we are coming up on the public participation aspects of this meeting. So there's two opportunities for the public to speak. The first one is going to come right after the mayor's report. You'll be afforded 3 minutes, and that's for any item on the agenda. So that your ordinance is on first reading and the resolution. So if you'd like to make your comments about this bamboo ordinance or something else, that's your opportunity to do so. There'll be a second opportunity for the public to speak at the conclusion, and that is for any other topic not on the agenda that you want to bring to council's attention. These are not back and forth, so it's 3 minutes for you to come in to kind of say what you have to say. At the conclusion of those time periods, the council will respond to any question that they deem fit to respond to. If there was an ordinance on passage for second reading, there would be a third opportunity for the public to speak on that ordinance alone. We don't have anything on that tonight. I know everyone's disappointed in that, but we'll be a little faster. So I hope that clarifies everything. And obviously, if you have questions, we'd love to hear them. Thank you.
Thank you. And now it's time for my report, and I'll make it brief. And I will not be undone. And I will say that this Thursday at 7 p.m., it's the reading, and I'm so excited about the reading of the community reading of the Heaven and Earth grocery store. It really, if you haven't got a copy, I would strongly encourage you to get a copy of it because it speaks to the time in which we're living. As a teaser, it happens to be about a community that chooses love over fear. And it so happens that this was done by James McBride. And it talks about a small town similar to us and the population of Blacks and Jews that decided to love each other over fear. And it's really an intriguing read. So please, please, please go out, get a copy of the book. And I think that the message in the book is timely, it's needed, and especially the environment that we're living in right now, globally in the United States. So I think it will help to make us all be a little bit more tolerant of each other. And the jazz, the blues, the ragtime that you'll hear after the other stuff that's coming up really ties into the book and what the book is about and coming together of people. With that said, this past Sunday, I attended Asha Emmett. They had their 25 years of community service. And this year, this program was New Jersey Diaper Program. And the Ida Kushner grant, they received the grant from the Ida Kushner Foundation, and they were able to implement diapers for people around Middlesex County who really needed it. And Matt Feldman was a resident here in Highland Park. He really shepherded the program along with Lee Livingston and Diane Hoffman. They really made sure that the Ida Kushner grant went a long way. And the awardee this past Sunday was Matt Feldman, and for his great work in making all of this possible for people who are diaper insecure, that there is a place where you can go get free diaper, free of charge. So that was another wonderful event that I attended this past Sunday. And I am going to talk a little bit more. I have received a number of emails and phone calls from a lot of residents and their frustration about the road work on Woodbridge Avenue. Let me explain. I think it's about 10 to 12 years now. We have been trying to partner with the county to get the road work done on Woodbridge Avenue. Why is it needed? Why is it desperately needed? Whenever it rains, Duclos Lane, the corner of Duclos and Woodbridge floods every single time. For year after year after year, what has happened, they continue to fix the road, but they never drill down. Now it's an opportunity for them to drill the road down, to mill it down, and to get it level. So there's actually sidewalks that will be implemented in that space. It will avoid the flooding of water in that area. And I believe that at some point, with all the milling, and we'll see clear lines so people can cross easily. So that is going to be addressed, and hopefully we'll get some trees in that area, in that walkway that we can't do anything right now with. So be patient. It's going to take some time. I travel that way too, twice a day, and we just have to allot a little bit more time every day, maybe 5 minutes more to allot, to make sure that this well-needed road work gets completed. Thank you. And now, with that said, I am going to go into public participation. 3 minutes total per speaker on items on this agenda. Comments from members of the public attending in person will be heard first, followed by those who attend on Zoom. Anyone wishes to speak, please come up to the microphone and announce yourself, name and address. Oh, our microphone is off
over
kilter.
here?
Yeah.
Let me just move it over.
Mayor,
We
I
can't
think
move it?
We would like it here if that's okay, because.
Oh, because we get more
We're
volume.
finding it, sometimes the.
Yeah, we have
spotty,
two, yeah.
So
Okay.
it's redundant. I apologize.
Speaking this direction? or-
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Mary Curran. I live at 67 Cleveland Avenue. I know many of you know that. One of the things you might not know about me is that for the last 35 years, I've taught English as a second language. And for 20 plus years, I have prepared teachers to teach English as a second language. And, you know, in addition to language development, we're also working with teachers so that they are making sure that they create welcoming, safe spaces for the newcomers in our community. So I'm here tonight to ask you to pass the resolution on the Immigrant Trust Act so that we can create a safe, welcoming space for our newcomers, for the immigrants, for the refugees who live here in Highland Park. And I think it gives us the opportunity to do what you said happens in the book too, to really lead with love over fear, right? And this way we can think about those vulnerable members in our community, help them feel welcomed and safe, and really put humanity forward, humanity first, and protect those rights of the rights of our newcomers. And I'm sure we all want to do this, to lead with humanity and lessen the fears so that our community members won't feel scared when it's time to send kids to school or to get healthcare that they need, and all the things that they have a right to. So I just want to ask you to do that. It's good for all of us, not only for the newcomers. All of us want our community to be to receive the education or the healthcare, et cetera, that they need. So consider that request. Thank you. This is weird. I'm talking to your backs.
Sorry, I'm just gonna double check. The light is on, and I apologize.
Okay. My time is just starting now, right?
Yeah.
You're not,
Everybody's
we're
having
gonna try to
trouble with
reconfigure.
that. Great, thank you.
Little bit of housekeeping.
Breathing room.
Maybe I'll just, can I move it back?
Oh, sure.
Okay, my name is Ellen Witt. I live here in Highland Park. I also work with Dyer Deportation and Immigration Response Equipo here in Highland Park, along with many other people. So I just wanted to speak in support of the resolution for the Immigrant Trust Act tonight. I feel like it's very urgent that this get passed in the legislature. I'm very concerned that in January, we may have open season on immigrants, and we need to ensure that people are protected, that all of our rights are protected. And if this is not passed, you could easily have ICE in our communities even more. They have been in our community already. You all may not know that, but they have been in Highland Park. But we need to make sure that our facilities, our police, our so forth are not
collaborating in carrying out raids on people who are possibly immigrants. So the only concern I had, or my question about the resolution, is where you're going to direct it, where it will go, because it's very important in my mind at this point that it needs to go to this, the Speaker of the Assembly, Coughlin, and it needs to go to the President of the Senate, Scutari, because that's actually who is preventing it from getting a democratic hearing in the committees. There are many people who do support it. And many of the legislature are sponsors, but it's not getting a hearing. And if anybody wants to make any additions, changes, or whatever, they're not even getting the opportunity to discuss it and make any of those changes, much less get it onto the floor of the legislature. So, so I just want to make sure that it is going to get to those locations. And I think it's an important step that we're taking. I know this past weekend, the No King's March, I guess some people said it could be as many as 1,000 people were here in Highland Park. And of course, there were like 50 of them all over the state. And this time, I think one of the central themes actually was deep, deep concerns about the conduct of ICE in many communities. And I just want to point out, just this past week, we had someone pulled over on Route 18 and by ICE and had both the passenger and the driver's side windows broken out. They had no warrant, nothing. They just carried that out. So it's critical that we get this kind of thing passed. Thank you.
Yeah, hi, my name is Helene Nee, and I've lived in Highland Park for almost 40 years. And again, I also volunteer with Dyer, but I wanted to speak from a different angle. I've also been a pediatric social worker at St. Peter's Hospital for 28 years. And as a social worker, I've seen children, especially with serious depression, anxiety, sleep disorders, eating disorders, ADHD, behavioral disorders that are often trauma related. Let me tell you about some of my young patients that I've seen at St. Peter's. An 8-year-old boy who stopped eating. He became severely dehydrated, had to go to the emergency room for intravenous. A 12-year-old girl who became severely depressed, had a grief reaction, needed counseling. Many young children with sleep disorders, afraid to go to sleep because they were worried and fear that their parent would be taken away. A teen girl who told me she hates her life. She doesn't want to live. She stopped going to school and needed medication and counseling. All these children had one thing in common. One of their parents or even a grandparent was detained by ICE. Immigration raids and detainment disrupts not only the lives of those detained, but the lives of the family, including innocent children. And the children often, as you know, are citizens of this country. Loss of income, stability, loss of housing, less food, less medical care, less schooling. And the cases of older children, often they have to drop out of school to go to work to help support their family if their parent is taken away. So it causes a lot of stress for everyone in the community, especially the vulnerable, the children. And it's not their fault. They were here. They've been born here. They're citizens. And there are studies that show about trauma in childhood, how that impacts children's health in the future, leads to poor health, mental health issues, an increase in addiction, poor academic performance, and decreased life expectancy. There's just not enough counselors, therapists, or psychologists to go around to care for these children. And these children are our future. And some kids are not going to school. They're even afraid because their parents are fearful of taking them there. Parents have stopped taking their kids to the pediatric visit. The visits are down by about 1/3 at St. Peter's. Children deserve to live their lives without fear that a parent or grandparent will be taken away from them. And the parents are working, as you know, very hard, putting in long hours at tedious jobs that are often very difficult. The parents care about their children's future and will sacrifice everything to help them grow up to be fully functioning citizens in the United States. So allowing raids to go on unabated in such a diverse community such as ours is unacceptable and abominable. We need safe zones at schools and hospitals to allow the children to get the education and the medical care that they need and deserve. And we need to pass the Immigration Trust Act because our children need and deserve protection from fear. Thank you.
Anyone else in,
Hi, Abby Stern Cardinal, Harper Street. So I'll just say really quickly, thank you in advance for passing the Immigrant Trust Act. I've heard multiple people speak about this at this council meeting before, and I know that it's been a long time coming or some time coming, so thank you. With regard to the redevelopment plan at the Rite Aid space, I brought this up previously, so I know you've all heard from me. I'd like to add a couple of points for specific consideration. I don't know when you all have last walked past Irving and the Irving playground, but this is an area where there are kids outside playing and you don't want to be standing around. You don't want to be looking like you're on your phone, hanging out, or loitering, or anything that could be perceived as being near the children inappropriately. This is what could happen with a daycare in a prime spot in downtown Highland Park. I am very much in support of daycares opening in other places. I think this is a really problematic potential. I don't know if there's really a potential of a daycare that's interested. Whether or not there is, including that in the redevelopment packet that you have is extremely problematic if that is a real possibility now or in the future. I know that some of you feel you have to vote yes in order to see redevelopment move forward. As you all know, I'm a big supporter of redevelopment. Taking a little bit of time to make this correct, because it has long-term serious implications on our town, is a tiny blip in the overall benefit that we could see in that corner. This vote, and I admit I don't fully know the process of how many votes need to happen still, but these votes that could make this happen will significantly affect our downtown. And I think these reasons, along with others I've emailed you, I have huge concerns about a daycare being one of the line items. I know it's a tiny line item in an overall very good plan, but every detail does matter. One other unrelated thing, garage sales, amazing weekend. I saw some of you guys. I heard of a situation where a family was going to do a bake sale and they were told by the Middlesex Department of Health that they couldn't through a notice, which is really upsetting because that's just not in line with the attitude of our town. So I don't know if we're getting, somebody going around reporting, but I would like to see, I know Middlesex Department of Health is different from Highland Park, but I've heard some other reports of unnecessary complaints instead of focusing our code enforcement on things like sidewalks that are really critical for our town. So thank you.
Thank you.
I am Catherine Hunt. I'm in Monroe Township. And I've come to speak in favor of passing the resolution for the Immigrant Trust Act. Have you ever wondered what you would have been doing if you were in the Holocaust? Well, if you'd like to know, just look at what you're doing now. Pastor Niemöller started out supporting Hitler, but eventually he saw he was mistaken, and he wrote the poem which begins, "First, they came for the communists, but I wasn't a communist, so I didn't speak up." And then it goes on to different groups of people. And finally, they came for me, and there was nobody left to speak up for me. Today in the US, the path to authoritarianism is being built on the backs of immigrants, faster than many of us anticipated. The fascists have started with immigrants, but they will not end with immigrants. Unless all of us step up and speak out, eventually and pretty soon they're going to come for all of us, which is why we need to step up right now and wrap our arms around our immigrant brothers and sisters, because they are the ones who are feeling the pain right now. But eventually that pain is going to manifest and it's going to be directed towards the rest of us. It will take we the people to defend our democracy. That is why we need to hope that you will join us in the fight. What more can we and you do? Well, this is the my turn, your turn part. those of us in the community have been involved with our churches and our community groups. And one of the things that we've done is that we train Know Your Rights. Do you know your rights training for individuals, businesses, even the warehouses. Well, in Chicago, the city is doing Know Your Rights training block by block. Your turn. What do you think you can do as Highland Park City Council? And we accompany people to their court appointments, to other appointments, to medical appointments, to school, to help them shop when they're afraid to go by themselves. Your turn.
30 seconds.
What can you do? I'll end there and ask you to please support the Immigrant Trust Act. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tony Faber from Scotch Plains. Thank you for allowing me to speak here today. In case anyone here thinks Catherine may have been being overly alarmist by comparing the actions of ICE to fascism, I'll point out that we now have over 100, if you didn't guess, speaking in support of the Immigrant Trust Act resolution. Thank you. We have over 170 instances of American citizens being arrested or detained in raids, and I'm talking American citizens being indefinitely detained without being charged. So if you think this is only about immigrants and not the rest of us, one would be mistaken. ICE is behaving illegally, which is a key reason we have to step beyond what we would ordinarily do to support this resolution. They are not respecting the need for warrants, as has been mentioned here many times. They are tricking, bullying, or even just breaking their way into homes, cars, and businesses to carry people away. We can't rely on the federal court system to stop this from happening. The federal court system either supports these actions or the administration ICE is defying them. There are 27 reports of ICE using tear gas in Chicago after a federal court ordered them not to do so, gassing local police and reporters in many instances. You know that ICE has refused to allow inspections of its facilities. You know this from Delaney Hall here in New Jersey, but this is happening all over the country. And as I said, we can't allow on the courts. The Ninth Circuit basically said that in allowing the National Guard to support ICE in Portland, that it expressed the opinion that courts cannot challenge a president's use of troops for civilian use. And the Supreme Court has also supported searches without a warrant based on merely the appearance or skin color of people to detain them for this. So this is obviously, I know you all know, an extremely serious situation. So I ask that, like has been said, that you not only support the resolution, advance this over to Scutari in the Senate, Coughlin in the Assembly, and also look at any other places locally that you may see may make a difference in making sure that our communities stay safe. Thank you very much.
Anyone else in the public? Terry, is there
I
anyone
have
on
one
Zoom?
hand up on, excuse me, I have one hand up on Zoom.
Okay, so we'll go to
It
that
looks
person who's
like,
on Zoom.
Ravi Duncan, you can just confirm it's you.
Hello. I'm
Yeah.
Han Duncan. I'm actually Ravi Duncan's son.
Go ahead.
Yes, I live in Highland Park on Lawrence, and I'm a high school student. So one thing that we learn in high school is that this nation was built off of the backs of immigrants. You see, this nation has prided itself in supporting immigrants, and it is honestly dishonesting, or is heartfelt to hear what ICE is doing. They take people off of streets, and they unconstitutionally do this. This is not allowed. You cannot make people just disappear if they are a citizen. And imagine being in school, sitting, and not worrying about what your class and homework, but worrying about, your parents being not there when you go back home. And it is taxing on the mind. I mean, stress at this age is common, but this type of stress is just unhealthy. And I think that's why it's so crucial that we have to pass the Immigrant Trust Act. Because it's not one thing just to pass it here, but to push it forward. I mean, I cannot vote. I cannot vote for governor, so I cannot really push my opinions of this further than just saying to you today to vote on this act, but to not only do that, but to push it forward, to give it passed so that New Jersey can vote on this before January, and so that we can protect, these citizens who are here. Thank you. Oh, and immigrants. And I'd like to quickly ask if it is possible for Ravit Duncan to talk after this as well. I don't know if that's possible.
Go ahead.
All right.
Hi, I'm Ravit Duncan. I'm his mom. I live in Lawrence also. I wanted to, first of all, thank you for putting this resolution up. I think it's very important. Thank you also, Jason Postelnik, for speaking in favor of it. I think everyone has already said pretty much all that needs to be said. It's critical. It's critical now more than ever. I want to implore you one more time to see this step as a first step, right? Passing it in Highland Park, super important. That's the first step. I'm begging you to use every leverage, every power, every network opportunity that you have to push on the legislature, to push on anyone that you think has power to push on this on the legislators. It's really, really important that we get this done to protect our communities and our immigrants who live here, who shop at Highland Park, who support the town in so many the borough in so many different ways. So thank you. Please pass this and please continue to push on it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I do see one other hand up, Lauren Antolino. You could confirm it's you.
Hi, yes. Yeah, my name is Lauren Antolino. I live on Highland Avenue in Highland Park, and I'm also here to voice my support for the Immigrant Trust Act. I think it's really important that we protect all members of the community. One thing I love about Highland Park is how diverse it is, and I'd love for all of my neighbors to feel safe in town. And I would also urge you to continue moving this forward, as many other people have mentioned tonight. This is something that needs to gain some traction at a statewide level. Thank you.
All right, Mayor, that's all we have. Thank you.
Okay. Seeing that none, may I have a motion to close public participation?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember George.
Yes.
Councilmember Hale.
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch.
Yes.
Councilmember Postelnik.
Yes.
And Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
Ordinance requiring a first reading. Clerk, could you please report an introduction of ordinance number 2521-17?
An ordinance adopting the redevelopment plan entitled 330-334 Raritan Avenue redevelopment plan pursuant to NJSA 40A:12A.1 et sec by the Economic Development and Planning Committee for consideration of passage on first reading by title.
May I have a motion to approve ordinance number 2521-17 on introduction?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember George.
Yes.
Councilmember Hale.
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch.
Yes.
Councilmember Postelnik.
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
Ordinance number 25-2118. Clerk, please report an introduction of ordinance.
Ordinance amending chapter 303 of the Borough of Highland Park Code entitled Property Maintenance to include Article 5 entitled Bamboo Plants by the Health and Human Services Committee for consideration of passage on first reading by title.
May I have a motion to approve ordinance?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember George.
Yes.
Councilmember Hale.
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch.
Bamboo stays or no?
Yes.
Councilmember Postelnik.
Yes.
And Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
Okay. Now we move to the consent agenda. resolution. May I ask any member of the council if there's anything that they would like on the consent agenda to be separated and pulled on this consent agenda?
I'd like to separate 12N.
Okay. All right, with the separation of 12 and okay. May I have a motion to approve 12A minus 12N through 12P?
So moved.
Second,
Roll call.
Councilmember George,
I see that we're reappointing Judge Ed Herman to the position of municipal judge. It's been an institution, a very fair and caring municipal judge who has shown a lot of us the way to do things right in town. And I vote yes.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Concur regarding Judge Herman, yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
Okay. Now we're going to go to 12N, resolution to support the passage of New Jersey Immigrant Trust Act. Senate Bill number 360, Senate Bill number 3672, Assembly Bill number A4987. We separated that out, so we're gonna, that was separated for a separate vote. So I'm gonna call everyone individually. Councilmember.
Need a motion?
We need a
Need
motion.
a motion. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, roll call.
Councilmember George,
I wish it was as easy to eliminate an invasive species like ice as it was to eliminate bamboo. That being said, there's a message that goes along with this. And that is, it is critical, no matter who you support, what you believe, what party you're from, we have to get our damned asses out and vote simply because it will be gone by next year if we are not careful. There are people out there who reinvented the brown shirts in Germany in 1932. And if you don't believe it, read Volker Ulrich's Volume 1 of The Rise of Hitler. They are the same, and it is frightening how subtle and easy it is to do it. Because as you said, we got rid of the communists, but I didn't care. I wasn't watching, and so it goes. Highland Park was in the leadership early on, during the first round of immigrant enforcement. In fact, what, Matt, 2015, 2016?
2007
Yeah.
and then 2017.
When we adopted our own particular version. And I think that since that time, we've remained resolute with the police department, especially under the new management that we've had for the last decade or so, adamant in that. This reinforces our commitment to that and also takes it to the state level as well. The Immigrant Trust Act will not be an end all for everything, but it certainly shows the commitment. We have to show the commitment of Highland Park. We have to show our neighbors that we're committed to this for all of us, because it is coming. And I vote yes.
Councilmember Hale,
I want to thank everybody who came out tonight to support this resolution. It's incredibly important and it's a significant issue, and it's worthy of a strong discussion. All the arguments that were made tonight are compelling. There's no doubt about that. Everybody has seen the horrific videos of masked ICE and Homeland Security thugs taking people into custody with or without cause at the direction of the chief bully in charge. That's not the America that I love, and it's certainly not who we are or who we should be as a people. And this deserves our full attention and our full fight. But at this time, I'm not sure that I agree that the Immigrant Trust Act as it stands is the way to do it. I know that's not what people want to hear. I know that it would be a lot simpler and a lot easier to just let it pass without comment or concern. But I do have some comments and concerns, and staying silent isn't what any of us should be doing at this time. So I wanted to let people know what my concerns are. First of all, we're being asked to pressure the state legislators to take up the ITA before the upcoming elections. There's currently no voting days that are scheduled before the election. So that would mean that the legislature would have to call a special session in order to pass this. And in my mind, that would mean that there is an intense focus on that special section. It would become the only thing that is talked about in the final days of the election. And putting on my political science professor hat, I argued that that would likely hurt pro-immigrant candidates and help anti-immigrant candidates. And the reason for this is that it is easy to make erroneous and false claims about what the ITA does. You'll hear claims that it gives special treatment to people who are undocumented. It doesn't. It doesn't, and we all know that, but we all know that in campaigns, truth is often a rare commodity. And in the reality of election season, especially at the end of it, small changes matter. The second concern is we hear all the time that the ITA simply codifies the existing immigrant trust directive, which is the current state guidance in this area, and it's worked very well. As we've heard, our police department has been a leader in the state prior to the immigrant trust directive in making sure that we're not using immigration as a penalty. But there are differences between the Immigrant Trust Directive and the Immigrant Trust Act. In Section 2B, subsections 5 and 6 of the directive, clearly it states that asking about immigration status can be acceptable when persons have been convicted or charged of serious crimes and asking about it is germane to that investigation. In Appendix A of the Immigrant Trust Directive, it lists some of those crimes where it is acceptable to act: assault, stalking, criminal sexual abuse, bias, intimidation, arson, endangering the welfare of children, witness tampering and retaliation, eluding a law enforcement officer, a violation of restraining orders, domestic violence orders, and manufacturing and transporting weapons. The Immigrant Trust Act, as it currently stands, eliminates these crimes as exemptions in situations where law enforcement can ask anything about immigration status. And I disagree with that. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a law enforcement officer. And I do believe that these situations are likely to be rare, but I worry that not having them may make it more difficult to prosecute these bad actors. And that's not good for anyone. And hard, because every time an undocumented person gets off from a conviction, Fox News and anti-immigrant zealots use it to unfairly paint the vast majority of our undocumented residents. We know that the vast majority are law-abiding, hardworking people who just want a better life. But that doesn't mean a small portion of them aren't truly bad actors. And I want all the tools available to catch, incarcerate, and deport those bad actors. And I worry that this current admission will make that more difficult. I know that we are all desperate to do something, to stop the march to authoritarianism. And we feel the pressure to act and to act now. And I do understand that. I really do understand that. But I'm not convinced at this time that pushing to have the ITA passed immediately without much debate is the right way to do that. I'd welcome a full scale and open debate on all aspects of the ITA. And regardless of what happens in November, I believe we're going to get it. And I think that the method of take a page out of Abby on a different pace, I think it is important that we take the time to make sure the actions that we're taking are the right actions, because we aren't going to have many second chances. I know this isn't a popular position. I know that this is not something that that people will necessarily enjoy me talking about, but this is the way that I see things. I think that we need to take the time, let the legislature take the time to have the full debate about the ITA, to make sure that the ITA meets all of the requirements to protect our communities and to protect our immigrant neighbors. So I vote no.
Councilmember Hirsch.
Thank you. I just have a couple quick bullets here. Oh boy, this work did start, I mean, at the local level, as Councilman George, well before 2017, when we did the inclusive communities resolution, municipal ID, and all of those other things that are necessary in order to make a resident feel safe, have access to local public services, and also, be kind of ingrained in the fabric of the community, which is really important, particularly when it comes to law enforcement. We need people to feel comfortable around municipal services, whether they're entering a police station, public library. Here, these are safe spaces where you can report crimes, where you can express concern, where you can be vulnerable and tell people who will protect you what you are facing. So that is really important, I think, in any community. And as stewards of this community, it's in my opinion, one of our top priorities to make residents, our neighbors, feel safe and welcome, and that they are not disadvantaged when it comes to the services that are offered blindly, regardless of status. We never ask status about anything. We don't ask people if they live here, unless it's for very specific reasons. If you're looking for a permit or something like that. But obviously, you don't have to be here. You don't have to live here, have an address here to enjoy Highland Park and what it offers. So there's that. I wanted to thank the advocates, who have been steadfast in working on this, not only today, but every day through the years as well. Ellen and I have worked together for many years, and my professional work brings me into this space often. I work in housing, affordable housing and housing justice, which obviously includes marginalized and disadvantaged communities, particularly those under distress, like our immigrant populations, particularly now in New Jersey. So this advocacy is important. Getting the buy-in from local governments is not trivial. Getting the buy-in from local mayors and council is essential when it comes to activating at the state legislative level. And I will note that the co-sponsors on this legislation are significant, including our own assembly representation here in the 18th district. I do want to acknowledge if there are concerns about the bill as written. I'm sure Assemblywoman Park and Senator Johnson would be more than happy to engage in discussion. When it comes to discussing this bill, unfortunately, this legislation hasn't even been available to have a discussion at the state level, as it has not been put up for any committee hearing discussions yet, unfortunately. I do view the work of our federal immigration agencies, specifically the work that we see that is meant to shock and awe us and put us in fear. I view that very explicitly as dirty work. I view that as dirty and illegal work. And I personally, as long as we're here, I don't want us participating in this work in any way, shape, or form. I don't want us considering participating in this work in any way, shape, or form, because we have far more important work to do here at the local level. Highland Park is very diverse as far when it comes to worldviews, when it comes to backgrounds, and our police and our leadership have done an incredible job, walking those lines, making sure that the dynamics are in tune with one another, making sure that we can all be here and exist, despite differing viewpoints and worldviews. So that is really important. I do want to, just note that, as we see the federal government really increase funding for immigration enforcement, we are being defunded. Remember when defund the police? I've never said that from this dais. But do you remember when, and I've never supported that concept either, but do you remember when that was a third rail? You would get pilloried if you said anything like that. Now they're defunding everything else. Where's the outrage there? They're defunding everything else. Where is the outrage? Our federal government is not working for us right now. And I think it's really important when it comes to these type of ministerial maneuvers that we can take. This is normal what we're doing. We're voting on a resolution in support of a law that we would like to see passed, joining the majority of the legislature who wants to see this bill passed. This is normal, but this is a normal response to extremely abnormal times at the federal level. So if it feels like that this is really, oh, well, we're doing what we can, I agree, Catherine. We all have to figure out our lane. We have to figure out whether we're activists, whether we're public servants, whatever role that we have, there is a lane for us to operate, and it's important that we all work together in order to achieve those goals. I was at Delaney Hall when Congresswoman McIver was arrested, along with Mayor Baraka. 80-year-old Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman was there as well, in the scrum, surrounded by goons, you know, really threatening stuff. These are representatives of Congress. These are people who deserve and who are respectable and deserve our respect. This is how they operate. This is not going to de-escalate what we're seeing in the news. The way that ICE behaves disrupts communities. Can you imagine if we, now Ellen did mention that ICE has been in town. Can you imagine if we saw the displays here in Highland Park, right on the avenue, like we see, like we're seeing all over the place? We would lose our minds. And I don't know how we would handle that, but it's certainly, whatever was happening would not have the support of our local police. And our legislative leaders need to hear that. I can say a lot more, Mayor, but I am a strong yes on this, and it's time for legislature to pass this. It's the least we can do, and I hope they hear us. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Pistonik.
Thank you. Yeah, so I already gave my spiel in support of this resolution. I just want to thank my colleagues, all of them, the ones I agree with. You guys did a tremendous job out there. You probably outshone my earlier statement on this. And I do want to just extend, thanks to my colleague, Councilman Hale. Even though we disagree on the approach to this particular resolution, I do feel that the big picture here is too important, that we do need to act now. But I am hopeful and optimistic that as we try to work through elevating this, we can engage with public safety experts that we have right here in town to figure out if there's a provision or two that we feel needs to be adjusted in order to make sure that our paramount goal of keeping everyone safe is in fact met. So happy to explore that and help raise that as this moves through the process, but I vote yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
I just want to start by saying something. So only fluent Spanish-speaking person up here. I am Puerto Rican, but I have the privilege of being born a U.S. citizen. So I don't have the experiences or the fear that some of my brothers and sisters in the Hispanic community who are suffering, that very real fear. But knowing that people who are U.S. citizens and may look different, may speak a different language, are being detained, I have that fear. A couple of months ago, I went on a bus trip to Texas with one of my children. Don't ask me, I don't like to fly so much, but I went on this bus trip and I was afraid. I was afraid. I have a real ID, but I took my passport with me as a backup because I wasn't sure if when I was speaking Spanish on a bus with my daughter or speaking on the phone with my father, whether I would be a target to be detained, stopped and questioned, and whether I would be believed that my documents were real and valid. So I do have that fear. 2 years ago, I was at ShopRite in East Brunswick, and I was speaking in Spanish with my father, and I was targeted by another customer who did not appreciate that I was speaking Spanish at the supermarket. That's my first language. So I have, as a Puerto Rican, I do have certain privileges, but I do have that fear that I can no longer speak my own language without being targeted. I've seen friends of mine who are afraid of taking, we heard a lot of accounts here. I personally know people who are afraid of taking their kids to school, having their U.S. citizen children pick them up at the door of their jobs because they're afraid to step outside for more than 5 minutes and possibly, have ICE lurking around the corner coming to pick them up. And I understand that there is a fear where there's some of these, undocumented people may have criminal backgrounds and so on and so forth. But I think that's such a small percentage of people, just like Highland Park has, U.S. citizens, that there's a small percentage of people here that may be bad actors, but the greater community are law-abiding community members. And so that's what we have to go with. We have to protect the majority of the undocumented immigrants, whatever you want to call them. Many of them have a right to be here. Many of them came with permissions, with visas and work permits, and they're still being targeted. They're still being taken away. So I am very passionate about this, and my vote is yes.
Okay.
4 yes, 1 no.
All right, so. What do I say now?
It's appointments.
Okay, so we have, just to let everyone know, we have
4 yes.
4 yeses and 1 no. So it carries, so we'll move forward with that. There was a question. There was a question earlier that when this reso is passed, where does it go? And I'm gonna ask you, Jen, because you do that part of it once we do this.
We usually send it to our local assembly, senators, and the governor's office.
So you heard it goes to our local assembly, senate, governor's office.
It's already copied that Mrs.
It goes to, it pretty much goes to everyone.
It's already copied the president of the Senate and the speaker of the House.
Yes, it goes to everyone, correct? It goes out to everyone.
Assembly, I'm sorry.
Yes. Okay, and with that said, now we're gonna move on to appointments. Human Relations Commission, Marlene Scitarini for Library Liaison. Highland Park Volunteer Department, Amir Majed, Crossing Guard, Kevin Royce, Nia Presley, Jessica Howard, Genevieve Pewitt. May I have a motion to confirm?
So move.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember George.
Yes.
Councilmember Hale.
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch.
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik.
I just want to say that Molina's been a very helpful asset in volunteering for the Relations Commission as unofficial library liaison for some time now, so very happy for this to move forward. I vote yes.
And Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
Okay, now it's time for the second public participation. 3 minutes on any topic, subject to conclude at 9 p.m. Persons who attended in person will be heard first, followed by those on Zoom. Please come to the microphone, it's right here.
I can speak again. Okay, so Ellen Witt, Highland Park. So I want to just say a couple of things about the resolution since Councilman Hale raised some questions. Number one, I think we have been pressing for people to take this up. The expectation is that in the lame duck session, this could actually be voted on before the new governor takes over in January. I don't recall anybody calling a special session. I mean, I missed that part. Did anybody call for a special session before the elections to vote on this? No, we've been pressing. But honestly, we've been pressing for a while. This has been out there all year long. There was even an earlier version of it. It's been going on for a long time. And it has sat in committee all year long. So that's a big problem in our just democratic functioning, that something is just sitting and not being allowed to be discussed when so many people feel it's such a critical issue. Number two, I'm well aware that it's not identical to the directive. It's meant to strengthen. It's meant to strengthen it. And I think that we raised this at the last 2 council meetings. We brought this up. And honestly, I think if Councilman Hale had any questions about this thing, there's been opportunity to have raised and discussed questions. And you know that Dyer is here in town, perfectly capable of discussing all the details that are in this in comparison to the directive. One of the big problems is not really so much the first section A. It's the second section, which has always been considered very problematic. In terms of constitutional rights, the idea that the local jail could hold someone past the time that they are supposed to be released without charges, because they're past the time that they're supposed to be released, to be able to hold them for the convenience of ICE to come and pick them up later. And that's, you know, called a retainer. And that has been where this question has come up. Should you do that in certain instances? Now, they did carve outs to really allow for that.
30 seconds.
And it's proven to be very problematic. All kinds of issues has really created problems for families. And I could discuss that with you in detail of exactly what is happening. But the reality is exactly what Matt Hurst said, which is if the Democratic Party, who has control of it, had some questions about this, they could bring it up in the committee so that amendments could be made, you could discuss it, you could change it, you could alter it. I personally think as it is, it's very strong and exactly on the money, but it could be discussed. But right now we got nothing, and we are going into January with nothing.
Hi, my name is Brianne Peters. I'm also a resident of Highland Park on South
I'm
Second
sorry, your
Avenue.
first name?
Brianne Peters. I'm also a resident of Highland Park on South Second Avenue. I want to say that I'm incredibly grateful for your support of the Immigrant Trust Act. So thank you for your actions tonight. I do want to echo what Ellen said tonight and everything about the actual act, and to your statement that we are now in the hiding people stage of this administration. And we see this in Chicago, and what else is happening, you know, outside of viral publications. I understand that it's an election year, and I understand that everyone wants to tread lightly to get reelected or elected and things. But it really is critical to send it up to the powers that be. Folks are, you know, immigrants are the backbone of our country and positively impact our day-to-day life, as we've chatted about here tonight. You know, they're getting abducted off the street, out of their jobs, from their homes, and directly from their vehicles, and it's wildly inhumane. These folks are not criminals, they're contributing members to our economy and our society. What the act does is ensures that all residents of our townships and the rest of New Jersey are protected, that police and both elected and unelected officials cannot work or share information with ICE. To continue and serve and to protect all of the residents of Highland Park, not work with ICE or at the discretion of the federal government. This bill ensures all residents here feel safe accessing municipal services, feel safe reporting crimes, and cooperating with law enforcement. That municipal and county resources are not diverted to enforce federal immigration law, but to support all residents here regardless of immigration status. And that is really critical before the election. And again, like Ellen said, we're going into January with nothing. And this has been around for about a year now. The Constitution guarantees due process to anyone on US soil. And we see that this process has not been followed nationwide. We also start every council meeting with Pledge of Allegiance, you know, liberty and justice for all. And we're not seeing that at all across the nation, including in New Jersey. And I want to make sure that we are remaining morally and ethically sound, supporting the Constitution and the Pledge of Allegiance to ensure these rights are respected and to protect our immigrant neighbors. And I just appreciate that you passed this resolution tonight, but
30 seconds.
You have a couple of things to think about. So thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Oops.
Does that work pretty well?
There you go.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Catherine Humpton. And I just wanted to say that this vote does not require or ask for a special legislative session. And what it does is it opens up the legislature to please advance this bill through the natural process, which would be, first of all, it has to go to the committees, then it has to pass the committees. The bill has not passed either committee yet, which means it has not had the debate that it's supposed to have. we're asking for the debate. That's what we're asking for, to go through the process so we can have a debate. Now, they're not going to do this before the vote, November 4th, because they're not going to have a special session to do it. It's just going to be during the lame duck. That's what we're asking for, is just to continue what is the way they naturally do things. And so that's what we're asking for. So just to make that part clear. And this is flood the phones. It's just asking if you'll make 2 calls. To call the Senate President, to let this bill be heard before the Senate Judiciary Committee, because that's the committee it's in, so that it can come to a full Senate vote. And then call Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin and ask him to let the Immigrant Trust Act be heard in the Assembly Oversight, Reform, and Federal Relations Committee, so it can come to a full Assembly vote. These are the 2 things that are necessary before it can go to a floor vote. So this is what you could do. If you would make those 2 phone calls, that would be great. So thank you very much.
Okay, those are handouts?
Yes, I can give these to
To give them, please give them to Terry.
There you go, Terry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I am Jenny Pisaki. Yes, it's the same name, but I do pronounce the P. I am a resident of Cranberry, and I appreciate the fact that you're giving me permission to speak in the Highland Park Forum. I just have 2 things to say. Number 1, I am a social worker. I'm a community social worker, but earlier last year, I worked in a school in South River where many of the students are immigrants themselves. Their parents are immigrants, their grandparents are immigrants. I had young people as young as 9 or 10 years old coming into my office crying because they were afraid to leave home because they didn't know if their parents would be there when they got home. I had one little boy who said to me, "Why does President Trump hate my family so much?" And honest to God, I didn't know what to tell him. And I appreciate the fact that you have voted in favor of this resolution, but it needs to go further than that. And that's the second piece of what I wanted to discuss. I do a lot of advocacy, and I have spoken to various members of our legislature, some of whom have already signed off on the Immigrant Trust Act. And then when you ask them what parts of it they are concerned about, you get told, well, honestly, we discussed it so long ago, we don't even remember all the details of it. I got that from my own assemblyman, who was not the assemblyman for Highland Park. We need to have a discussion. We need to have a very thorough discussion. We need to have our legislators behind this and also informed about what it means so that they can push it forth in a way that keeps everyone safe. So that children aren't afraid to go to school, so that people can go into a hospital and know they're going to get served, not because of their immigrant status. I also used to be a domestic violence hearing officer in Hudson County, and I had people afraid to come before me, survivors of domestic violence, because they were afraid they were going to have to divulge their immigrant status, and that was going to open up a whole can of worms for their family, endangering them further. I need the legislature to be informed. I need them to be able to pass this and make it airtight as best they can. And I appreciate you coming up and adding to the support of this action. Thank you.
Sorry, anyone online?
Mayor, we have 3 attendees.
Okay, seeing none, seeing no further, may I have a motion to close public participation?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember George.
Yes.
Councilmember Hale.
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch.
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik.
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, our next council meeting will schedule for November 25th at 7 p.m. And thank you all for coming out. Thank you all for sharing your thoughts, your opinions, and expressing them with us so eagerly. Thank you. Have a good night.